Hi, welcome to the podcast this week. This is Marc Zienkiewicz. I am editor of German Nation, and I'm happy to be your host on this 10th episode of our Seed in the Time of COVID-19 podcast. This podcast has been a great success. I want to thank you, our listeners, for all of your support. This week I am talking with Kevin McCallum, General Manager of Manitoba's DL Seeds. Last week, the Seed Variety Use Agreement Pilot Program announced the addition of 2 new crop varieties. DL Seeds has added its forage field pea varieties DL Delicious and DL Goldeye to the program. Delicious will be distributed by FP Genetics and will be available in 2021, while Goldeye will be sold through Riddell Seed Company and is available in small amounts for 2020, with more coming in 2021 as seed production contracts are sought. I sat down with Kevin today to talk a little bit about these 2 new varieties, why they're so significant for the company, and why he wanted DL Seeds to take part in the SVUA pilot program. Enjoy. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me today. Can you start by telling us a little bit about these 2 varieties, DL Delicious and DL Goldeye?
Yeah, sure. So the 2 new varieties are actually forage pea varieties. And they're a little bit different in terms of one is more your traditional forage biomass, high biomass forage pea variety. It stands a little bit better than, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a forage pea variety called 4010. It's one of the more common forage pea varieties on the marketplace. And it has actually better, this DL Delicious it's called, has, which is a unique name, has higher biomass than 4010. It's a semi-leafless variety, and but its biomass is still very, very good. So yeah, we think it's going to be very palatable for growers in the future. So it can be used in blends and silage peas. And then the other variety it's called DL Goldeye, and it's unique too. It is a little bit smaller seeded, so you can blend it with cereals like cereal seed and make it. It's more of a blending type of forage pea, and used in that type of a situation. So producers are looking for pea variety that has good biomass. That can be blended with, say, their small seeded cereals. That's one of the reasons why Goldeye would fit their farm.
Now, for those who maybe aren't quite familiar with it yet, under the SVUA program, producers who purchase a variety with an SVUA attached will be invoiced a seed variety use fee for every year that they choose to divert some grain of that variety to use as seed, which is often referred to as farm-saved seed. The pilot's going to assess how the SVUA works in a real farm situation in order to better inform the value creation discussion for the entire agriculture value chain. Now, Kevin, out of all the crop varieties you've developed at DL Seeds over the years, why did you decide to make these 2 varieties part of the SVUA program?
It is a pilot, so it's something brand new, and we want to see exactly how this pilot project would work on a few. So it's a test for us as well. It's one of those things where we're looking to increase our investment in plant breeding into the forage oats and forage peas. Sorry. So we had to look at the pilot project. Still need to figure out a lot of the details, but it looks like it could be a natural fit for what we're trying to do at DL Seeds in terms of return on investment in our forage pea investment.
Now, the SVUA is designed to create a revenue stream for innovation and new variety development in Canada. Can you illustrate for us, Kevin, why that's important for a company like DL Seeds?
So for us, in terms of recouping value, a great example I can use would be the current forage standard in the market today 4010. It was one of our varieties, and now because it is getting to be 15, 16 years old, the return on that variety is basically zero for us in terms of recouping the return or any revenues on that variety back to us. And so what we're thinking is that we'll invest in new genetics, varieties that give producers higher value, and bringing those and protecting those varieties into the marketplace. And that's why we're looking for not just this pilot project, but other ways to protect our investments. For peas, it's between 8 to 10 years to bring a new forage pea variety onto the marketplace. That's why you don't see a lot of new forage pea varieties. And so we want to protect the intellectual property of these two new varieties. And that's why we're part of the pilot project, to see exactly if this model could bring more return on investment in our company. So.
Now, this was just announced last week. It's very early on, but what have you heard so far? What's the response been to DL Seeds being a part of the SVUA program with these two new varieties?
Yeah, so it's very early. We're really only going to be launching it next year. There's been a few discussions with growers, and many of the growers that through our distributors, so DL Delicious will be distributed through FB Genetics in Regina, and DL Gold Eye will be distributed through a Manitoba seed company called Riddell Seed Company. And just a few preliminary discussions with them that a lot of their customers do use a lot of certified seed. The program does fit their customers, and they will be targeting the customers that will see value in investing in plant breeding and getting new varieties into the marketplace. So it's been positive, but it's still very, very early, and we really haven't. We're just starting to have those conversations and getting some feedback on the program. So I think it's a little bit early to judge exactly or to tell how it's going to be accepted by most of the producers.
Kevin, as you know, you sometimes hear some skepticism with regard to seed royalties in Canada. People wonder why we need this. Why can't we just do things the way we did them in the past? Can you illustrate for us, from your perspective as a business person operating a seed company, why we do need this right now?
Yeah, I mean, when you step back and you go back a little bit in terms of really it all revolves around intellectual property protection and the new PBR rules that were introduced 4 years ago that adopted in Canada the UPOV 91 International Convention that allowed plant breeders to have a little bit more protection rights of their new varieties. So that really allowed breeders to, when they come to the marketplace, to actually protect a little bit more, protect their varieties, and so that's given the kind of the landscape of why we decided to start using the SUV. I mean, we've been breeding now peas in North America for since I started at DL Seeds 12 years ago. We really, at best, right now, we have not made any money in the pea variety development game in Canada. We do have a little bit a better business in the U.S. because it is the U.S. pea model is a little bit different than Canada. In the U.S., it's a lot of IP protected contracted basis business. So there's a lot of certified seed use in the U.S. compared to Canada. When you do the numbers for a private company, there's just doesn't pencil out to be any type of break even type of situation in the last 12 years developing peas. So with this new announcement, we're looking at protecting our varieties a little bit better and seeing if we can increase the rate of return and recoup our investments in breeding. And an example right now, we're basically a canola breeding company. We have 30 employees in DL Seeds, specifically developing canola. We have 0 full-time staff on peas. So that just kind of gives you a perspective of the rate of return in the business of peas. We just cannot justify putting full-time staff breeding peas in Canada. So hopefully that changes. That's what we're looking towards, and seeing different models, how we can come up with a different model to get full-time staff working 100% on pea development. And that's our goal, and that's what we'd like to do, and increase our presence in the pea development and landscape in Western Canada.
Thanks so much for joining me today. If you'd like more information on the SVUA program, visit seedvaluecreation.ca. And for more great podcasts, visit germination.ca. Have a great day.